Installation of the escape slide raft pack assembly. Do a check of the general condition of the slide pack assembly. Before you start the work, make sure that the safety lock pin is correctly installed in the regulator valve assembly. Make sure that the pressure gauge shows a sufficient pressure level. Check that the manual inflation handle is connected to the inflation cable. Before you install the girt bar, you have to disconnect the loop of the cover release cable. Make sure that the electrical connector is closed and installed in the correct position. Place the electrical wiring depending on which side the slide needs to be installed on. The electrical harness must come out of the side of the girt assembly in the direction of the cockpit. To place the harness correctly, follow the instructions on the pack assembly. Now, the pack assembly is ready for the girt bar to be installed. Make sure that the visual indicator faces inboard and forward. Install the mooring line on the left side of the girt bar . Pull the cord loops through the grommets in the short girt flap. Install a temporary tie on the small cord loop . Start at each edge of the girt assembly and pull the cord loops through each other to the small cord loop at the center. Place the handle wire loop over the small cord loop before you place the long cord loop over the center. Secure it with the parachute pin before you continue pulling the cord loops from the other end towards the center. Secure both long cord loops over the center with the parachute pin and remove the temporary tie. Safety the parachute pin by using a specific nylon thread. 1 clove hitch on the long side of the pin, 3 half hitches on the short pin end, followed by 3 half hitches on the wire end of the pin, secured with a square knot. Put the release strap through the release trigger and position the release strap along the girt. Attach the survival kit lanyard to the release strap with the same color Velcro strip and position the lanyard along the girt. put the loop of the survival kit lanyard on the top of the telescopic end fitting and close the attached strap with the Velcro strap. Note: the short loop end must go through the release trigger and the long loop over the trigger. Finally, fold the long girt flap over the girt bar and attach it to the short girt flap Velcro tape. Before you start with the installation of the slide, make sure that the emergency exit light switch on the 25VU is set to off. Install the safety lock pin on the percussion mechanism of the door damper and emergency operation cylinder and set the percussion lever to the disarmed position. Check that the door is set to the disarm position and the lock pin is engaged. Close the door and install the slide raft pack assembly on the door support hooks. Hold it at an angle and connect the electrical connector of the slide to the door. Note: the pack assembly weighs approximately 50 kilograms. Install the stud assemblies carefully with the Allen key. Tighten them to the required value with a torque wrench. Afterwards, check that there is no more play between the slide pack board and the door. Set the door to the armed configuration and open the door with the control handle and hold the door to prevent it from fully opening. Install the girt bar by putting both ends into the floor attach fittings until the spring pawls click into position. Carefully lower and lock the door with a control handle. Make sure that the control shaft levers engage correctly in the holes of the girt bar. Make sure that the girt bar engages correctly in the telescopic forks when you set the door to the disarmed position. Do an operational test of the arming mechanism by arming the door and lifting the door carefully with the door control handle. Check that the girt bar engages into the floor attach fittings. Prevent the door from moving to the fully open position. Lower and lock the door again. Set the emergency control handle to the disarm position and check that the girt bar moves back into the telescopic fork. Safety the door in the disarm position. Remove the safety pin from the pack assembly and stow it in the pocket on the slide assembly. Do an operational test Position the decorative cover with the upper end on the top of the slide pack board. Finally, you have to set the door damper and emergency operation cylinder back into the armed mode. Extend the percussion lever and tighten the screw. Lock wire it, and when the lock wiring is done, remove the safety pin from the percussion mechanism. Do the operational test of the emergency lights and check the slide bottle pressure through the CIDS. Both test results should show OK.